So here are the actual currents for the major ocean currents worksheet that you have. The first one, A, is the Gulf Stream. So if you would fill in Gulf Stream, and you can put current right behind it. You can put a capital C period, which means current. So Gulf Stream current. Then B is the California current. And C, the Humboldt current. D, North Atlantic current. E, the Kuroshio current. F, North Equatorial current. G, South Equatorial current. H, West Wind drift. And I, the Brazil current. Now, as an example of the continent having an effect on a current, take a look at the Brazil current. There's letter I, and it's pointing at that current running along the coast of Brazil and then Argentina south toward Antarctica. And notice how that current starts way up near the equator. It's moving westward, but it hits that coast of Brazil, and part of it branches off to the north, and part of it becomes that southern Brazil current as it goes to the south. So the continent actually defines the direction of that current. And that's really what we were saying in our earlier time, that we really have four factors that affect the direction of currents: the heat of the sun, the Earth's rotation, large wind patterns, and then the continents. So we are next going to look at the other fill in the blanks of that major ocean currents. So be sure to fill in 1 through 4. It says label the label the ocean currents on the lines above. We just did that. 2, circle 6 warm ocean currents and put a check mark over the 3 cold ocean currents. And so you could go ahead and put a check mark next to the Humboldt current, letter C, check mark next to the west wind drift current, letter H, and a check mark next to the what's the third one? I'm trying to find that third one. Cold weather. This would be the cold currents. And the third current would be the California current, letter B. So B, C, and H are all 3 cold water currents. Why is that? Well, the source of the current is in the far north, as it is with the California, or it's in the far south, near the poles, for letter C and letter H. Now the other oceans are warm. The other currents are warm water currents. So you would circle all of the others, and of course they start somewhere near the equator. So that's why they tend to be a warm water current. Let's now look at letters A through E and see if you can fill those in, and then we'll go over those shortly. Now for letters A through E, the phrase for letter A, the phrase rivers within an ocean refers to the ocean currents. So fill in currents in letter A. Letter B, 2 ocean currents that affect the coast of North America are these 2, the Gulf Stream and the California currents. Okay. C, the currents below the equator flow in a what? Counterclockwise rotation or direction. D, the west wind drift current in the southern hemisphere completely circles the cold continent of what? Antarctica. And then E, currents affect climates of neighboring regions. A great example is that California current. As you look at B in your diagram, the California current comes across the Pacific going eastward. It hits the United States right there on the Oregon and Washington coast, bringing all that humid, moist air from the ocean. And guess what? Right there is what they call a rainforest climate on the coast of Washington, the Olympic Peninsula, the coast of Oregon, and tremendous amounts of rainfall come there. That's one of the highest rainfall areas of our entire continent, where that current hits our coast. So yes, currents will affect and bring rainfall and bring warm climate from the ocean. Lots of humidity. Let's go down to column A and column B now. A cold South American coastal current. Okay, the only one that we see there is the Humboldt current, so you'd fill in Humboldt current. B, an eastward flowing rivers of water, and that would be the currents in the northern hemisphere. C, a warm ocean current affecting England's climate. So as we look at our map, we see a warm current that's coming from the equator that heads toward England would be the Gulf Stream. Right, Gulf Stream. But the Gulf Stream is not one of our possibilities. So we're looking at one that's a little closer than the Gulf Stream, and that would be that North Atlantic current, correct? North Atlantic current for C. D, this is a cause this causes currents to change direction. And yes, large land masses. And then E, push surface water in different directions. That would be the circulating winds. Okay, why did ocean-going sailboats depend on ocean currents? Well, why do you think? You should fill in what you think there. Remember what we've learned about the ocean currents and sailboats. What causes the currents to go in a certain direction. So think through that as you answer that last question. Thank you. God bless you.